You know what? So I've been talking a lot about DevOps. I'm gonna get to my stuff real quick, but I've been talking a lot about DevOps, and automation has been something that I'm really working to learn a lot about and just implement in my life. You know what I'm saying? As far as not only in my everyday job, but in my everyday life. There's a lot of things that I have to do repeatedly, and it wastes a lot of time. So automation really makes a lot of sense. So I created a Twitter bot. If you happen to hop on Twitter right now and at this bot, it will tweet you a reply automatically. Look, you can do it right now. My hands are free. And it'll tweet you automatically. But not only that, like if you tweet at the bot with the hashtag lab every day, it'll tweet you either an inspirational quote, a fun tech fact, or it'll tweet you a quiz question, whether it's like Linux related, security related, or like CCNA related. And what I would like to do is if you tweet like the hashtag the CCNA and it tweets you like a CCNA question. And what I'm also working on doing is to get it to automatically tell you if your answer to the quiz question is correct. So I've been really working hard to build this code. And what I'm going to do now is show you my GitHub real quick. I have to figure out how to make it public, but I'll at least show you the code here in the chat. So let me pull this over. All right, so make sure y'all can see this. So here's my repository on GitHub. My GitHub is Lab Everyday. That's my GitHub, and this repository is Lab Everyday Bot. So in the repository, if you happen to go to it, I have an init file which initializes the Python file to be ran as code. And then I have a last seen ID for every time you tweet at me or every time there's a message, I will see that, okay, I don't want to reply to this message twice. You get what I'm saying? So I store that last ID in a file. And then I come over here to this tool. And that's my actual Python script. This is the application. So in here, I import random so I can choose a random item from my list that I create, my list of questions. And then I also import Tweepy, which is the application that, or the module that actually uses the API for Twitter. And then I import time so I can say, okay, every 15 minutes, scrub Twitter for the hashtag lab every day and retweet it. I import the author. Well, I say who the author is, and then for here you have to use keys for your API in Twitter. So these aren't in the script, of course, because for security reasons. But in case you want to recreate your own bot or whatever, this script will help you do it. All you have to do is register for a developer account on Twitter, and then you're good to go. And so from here, this is where all the API communication comes in. So you say consumer key, it calls consumer key and customer secret, and it uses this to communicate with the API for authentication. So after this block of code, I am now authenticated with the API. And then it says user API me, which is my user, the user that it is. So every time the script runs, you'll see that it says lab every day. This user is lab every day bot, because that's who the Twitter user is. And so next, this is where I import the text file into a variable. And then as well, what I call the name of the text file. Since this is the name of the text file, when I reference the file name, if I don't have it in the same folder as my Python script, I'll have to list the real file path. But since it's in the same folder, I could just put the name of the file, and my Python script will automatically look for it. So this is actually the name of the file. It's not the actual file. It's the name of the file that I'm going to call and use. And so then I have a second file for the last reply. All right, and so here is my variables of questions. So in here I have 41 different replies. As you can see, I have the Linux replies, I have security replies, I have, let me see, looks like a couple CCNA questions. And I manually created these. Now I'm looking for a more efficient way to create these. I'm not sure if I can create them in a class or how to really generate these questions. But so far, the way I realized, or the way I found is the best way, is by creating a variable in string with the type string. And so I create all those variables, 41 replies, and then I put them in a list. So each reply is in a list that I use to say, okay, give me a random item from this list. That's what I'm going to use in the strip. So if you just reply to the Twitter bot, it's going to say a general reply. So if you don't use the hashtag lab every day, it's going to give you a general reply that says, hi, thanks for the message. I'm just a bot that will soon have superpowers. Stay tuned. Because I'm still building it. You know what I mean? But I don't want to leave you hanging if you add the bot and it doesn't reply. You get what I'm saying? So what I did here was I went on ahead and I just created a variable to say, all right, anybody that at the bot, give them some type of reply. And then for here are the functions that I use to communicate with the API and do everything I needed to do in the script. I have 3 functions. I got find tweets, retrieve the last seen ID, so the last person I communicate with, store the last seen ID in a text file, and then reply to tweets. All of these functions are pretty much self-explanatory, but to just kind of give you a rundown, so in the find tweets, this is actually where it goes out to Twitter and finds the hashtag lab every day. So anybody on Twitter, it'll say, okay, who tweeted the hashtag lab every day? It's going to find all the recent ones, and then it'll find like 35 of them. So the top 35, it'll find those, and then for each tweet in my search, it's going to say, all right, if the person has at least 25 followers and they tweeted 500 times, go ahead and retweet them. But if they don't, ignore the user. And then so if you get any type of errors, I threw an exception in there just in case. You get different type of errors. Like if you communicate with the API too much, it'll think you're spamming or something like that. So you'll get like, it's called, what is it called? Rate limited. And basically it'll cut your communication for a certain amount of time. And so my script will break. So if that does happen, this is a try block in order to kind of keep my script going. And then this only happens every 15 minutes. So if you see this part right here, time sleep, I only want this to run. Actually, no, it waits. So 60 times 15, that's, yeah. Is that 15 minutes? Yeah, so every 15 minutes it runs. I believe that's it. 60 times 15. I think that's it. Yeah. No, that's just if you get the exception. That's not every 15 minutes. So the every 15 minutes is going to be down here, I think. Time 15. Timeout equals 15. Timeout starts. Okay, so right here. All right, so let me start over. So let's go down here. So the script actually starts down here. So while true, reply to tweet. So it calls this function here. And so this function brings in the list. And then once it gets into this function, it's going to say timeout equals 300 seconds. So if the time from the last time it ran is run this basically while true, run this for 15 minutes. And so once it runs this function for 15 minutes in this while loop, then it'll call this find tweet. So every 15 minutes is actually when I do this. And so the rate limit here, 60 times 15, is just in case I get this rate limited error. So that's what that's for. And like I said, this will retrieve the last reply. This will store it. And then down here, it will reply to the tweets. So after this video, I'm going to make all this code public on GitHub so you can contribute. If you're interested in contributing, hit this video with a thumbs up, all that good stuff. And let me know in the chat if you're down with contributing to this code and learning some Python. I figured it's a great way to get you all involved and actually have something you can contribute to. Because it's boring to sit there and do strings and learn integers and while loops and for loops and all of that is cool at first, but then once you are like, man, I don't have no use for this in my everyday life. So what I did was I created something that you can actually be a part of and learn some bases of coding. And then we all can grow together because I can learn something from you as well. So let me get to this chat. Network bruh, what's poppin'? Network bruh. OC Kai, what's popping? Appreciate it, fam. I appreciate that super chat. All right, so the UK in the building. Ali has said I got my CCNA booked for next month. Let's go. Let's go, Ali. I know you ready. If you got questions or you need some help, man, hit me up. Hit somebody in the Lab Everyday community. Don't just sit there and feel like you are overwhelmed. You got help out here, family. Let's get it. Dion, what's popping? Maddox, cool. Let me see, Dion. Same. Oh, good luck, Dion. Good luck to you too, Network Bro. Make sure you got. Hey, thanks, Network Bro. I appreciate that, bro. What's up, babe? Cool. Thank you. Nah, I drink it just like that. Thank you. Networks and breakfast. My breakfast is tea. I stopped drinking coffee. All right, Dion, I missed how do you sign up for the bot? So, like I said, after this live stream, follow me on Twitter, and what I'll do is I'll tweet out. If you go to GitHub right now and you look for Lab Everyday, and actually I think if I just share my GitHub in the chat, you can follow me there. If you follow me on GitHub, you'll see actually when I make this repository public. But right now, it's not public. So once I make it public, you'll see it and you'll be able to contribute to the Lab Everyday bot. And like I said, on Twitter right now, let's see if somebody's replied. So, all right. So as you can see, Harlem Oscar sent a tweet, Lab Everyday bot, and it hit him with a CCNA quiz question right there on the spot. And then it also likes the tweet. You know what I mean? And so then he answers. The part I'm working on now is to let him know if the answer is right or wrong. You know what I mean? So check it out. Feel free to everybody chime in, follow it, and answer the questions together. You know what I mean? Do your research. My goal initially was not to let the bot to let you know if the answer is right or wrong, because I want you to be able to learn how to Google and, you know, find answers for yourself and work together to really find, you know what I mean, like how technologies work. So I got, you know, a big vision for this bot because I feel like it can be really useful and also save myself a lot of time, just being honest. All right, so thanks, Network, bro, for the plug, man. I appreciate that, family. Yeah, I'm about to get to some labs. I need to go ahead and get to my lab real quick. And like I said, it goes out on retweets as well. So if anybody tweeted, it's going out there. If you use the hashtag Lab Every Day, you got at least 25 followers, 500 tweets. It's going to go ahead and retweet you. So that's that. All right. Let me get to this chat real quick before I pull up my devices so I can start wiping and going through it real quick. D, I feel hurt, man. I'm one of the first members of Lab Every Day, and I'm not a moderator. Oh, man, hold on. Hey, Ali, I got you, bruh. Man, come on, man. You ain't got to be hurt. Just say the word. Say the word, family. Say the word. I got you. There you go, fam. He said, hi, but I will take tomorrow in August after my CCNA. That's my man. Surprise, surprise, family. Dion, thank you. Hey, you're welcome. Ricardo, got my CCNA under. Okay. Hey, shout out to you, Ricardo. What resources did you use? Put them in the chat. It may help somebody. And good luck on that CCNP. Adrian said, I definitely interested in helping with the bot. Cool, family. Like I said, follow my GitHub, and then once I make it public, which I'll do today, I'm gonna try and do it after this live stream. But if I don't, it'll be public today. Yeah. Because all the code is there. It's exactly how I want it right now. I think I may just go through and add some notes. Add some... dang. I don't forgot what it's called. It ain't called notes. I don't forgot. Anyway, I'm going to go through and add some documentation in the script. So that way, when people go through it and has no idea how to use Python, they'll be able to go to it and say, okay, this is a string. This is a function. This is a try block. This is a while loop. You know what I mean? This is the import statement. Stuff like that. Put that in the script so that way, if you have no idea how to use Python, you'll at least have an idea of what's going on in the script. I need to do some more documentation in there. So that's that. Nezoro, really appreciate your videos. And I appreciate you, family. I really do. I appreciate you. Yeah, thank you. Good looking, fam. Hey, you welcome. Nice. It's like 30 y'all here. Let's get them likes up. Let's get them likes up. Hey, Network Bruh, how that CCNP? Matter of fact, Network Bruh, put your link to your channel in there. Network Bruh, he's been working on his CCNP. If you're working on your CCNP, check this dude out, because he's not only putting out CCNP information, but he's going exam topic by exam topic and making YouTube videos. That takes work, that takes dedication, and that takes time. Go check him out, follow him, give me some likes, some support, and some encouragement, because that CCNP journey ain't easy. But he making it, he gonna get it. Let's see, Adrian said, a coworker of mine was telling me that robotic process automation is the next way. Have you heard? No, I haven't. Let's Google that. Robotic process automation. So I'm gonna spend like 2 hours on this live stream. So hold on. Hold up real quick. So we got about Alexa. Hold on, I'm trying to get my, there we go. Alexa, set a timer for 1 hour and 30 minutes. Let's turn it on. All right, so let me Google that real quick. Robotic automation. What is RPA? Let's see. What's it? Okay. Robotic automation is an emerging form of business process automation technology based on the notation of metaphorical software robotics or artificial intelligent workers. Interesting. Interesting. Then it has, let's check this out. I'm just clicking away. Let's go. Man, I wanted to see, there we go. This is what I want to see right here. I don't agree. All right, so what are the benefits of RPA? Robotic process automation, accuracy, improve employee morale, low technical barrier, well, I'm going in the wrong direction. So let's start in the right direction. We're about to talk about this. If y'all know something about robotic process automation, put it in the chat. This is interesting. I'm going to talk about this before we get started. I got about 3 minutes before I'm going to pull up my gear and we go from there. Alexa, set a timer for 1 hour and 30 minutes. There we go. So that's, hey, quick tip. Like, I usually don't bring my phone in my lap. I put that all to the side. I use Alexa, set a timer, and then once I do that, she let me know, like, all right, you can stop laughing now. Or, you know what I mean? I tell her to play music, whatever I need, I put all that on. And the type of music I listen to, I know a lot of y'all was asking in my previous live stream, lo-fi hip-hop. That's what I listen to when I'm in the lab, or classical music. Either one, they put the brain on point, have you real sharp. But let's check out this robotic process automation. Hey, Network Bruh, put your YouTube in the chat, bruh. Network Bruh, put your YouTube in the chat, bruh. What's up, Tiffany? All right, so right now we're talking about the benefits of robotic process automation. I've never heard nothing about it, but we're gonna go through it. It looks like it's a cycle, it's a wheel that you go through to improve your business, basically, but it also improves more. But let's talk about it. So it's saying improve employee morale. Workers can dedicate more time to engaging, interesting work, productivity, reliability, consistency, non-invasive technology. Let me see. No disruption to underlying legacy reducing the burden, legacy systems reducing the burden on IT, compliance, low technical barrier, accuracy. Yeah, I'm gonna put this link in here because I'm gonna check out more about this. I'm interested in that. So that's what I just found online. So boom, look at that. Look at that. Lab Everyday Bodies in the building. So y'all, we were talking about, the title of this video is, do you need a home lab in 2019? All right. In my honest opinion, when you're going for your CCNA, your CCNP, your CCIE, do you need a home lab in 2019? No, you don't. Everything is virtual that you can do on your computer. There's Cisco Viral, there's GNS3, there's Packet Tracer, there's Even G, there's many other solutions out there to help you learn this technology. And when it comes to building your home lab, you don't really need most of this. I mean, I do it because for me, I'll tell you why I do it. And I'll just be fully transparent in why I do it. Let me pull this up. See what COM this is first. It says COM 5, so let's see. Hold on. Windows. Hold on, let me find which COM port I'm using on my computer, and then we can talk about the home lab. So the COM port that I'm using on my device, COM port 8. All right, cool. All right, let me just show y'all this. So I'm connected to my device real quick before we even talk about the home lab. I'm connected to my device, and initially when I pulled up my putty, I had the wrong COM port. And so in order to find your COM port, what you would do is just go down to your start menu and type device manager, and it'll bring up your device manager. And so from here, what you would do is click these ports, and then from the ports, that's if you're using a USB to serial. Even if you're just using a serial connection, if you got an older laptop or desktop, come down here to ports, and it'll show you all your COM ports. And I'm in COM port 8. And so what I want to do is open my Secure CRT. That's the application that I'm actually using. And I'm going to change this to COM port 8. And so now when I connect to my device, let's change it. Let's close that. So cool. So y'all should be able to see all this now. Boom. Cool. And I hit enter. This should allow me into my device. So as you can see right now, it's saying please answer yes or no. This is initial configuration for your device. And I select no. And in the industry, it's standard pretty much across the board to select no. You want to use your own configuration that has been built out, bug scrubbed, and actually tested for security, vulnerabilities, and all that good stuff for your infrastructure. And it's standard to pretty much use a approved configuration across the board. So once you log onto your device, if it's brand new, if you're wondering, okay, is there a password on it? No, if you see this, it's either a brand new device or it's been wiped, reloaded, and the configuration is gone. So we'll hit no, and then now we should be in our device, and we're in here. So before we go back on, let me get in the chat. So GNS3, yep. So we were talking about a home lab. Do you need a home lab? No. The reason why I have a home lab is because when you're supporting customers, clients, infrastructures, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, when it comes to outages, when it comes to different designs that you're going to put on the WAN and you're wondering how failover is going to work, in my opinion, I find it better to actually test hardware than testing this in a virtualized environment or an emulated environment. And here's why. What I found is that it's kind of hard to simulate a power outage in that environment. It's kind of hard to figure out somebody plugging in the wrong cable in that environment. It's kind of hard to simulate someone unplugging a device in that environment. It's kind of hard to figure out, let's say, bad power in that environment. It's kind of hard to figure out things that you just can't do, in my opinion, in an emulated environment. So for me, having my home lab, let's say I'm dealing with an HSRP issue, or I'm dealing with a BGP WAN link issue, and I'm trying to figure out the MPLS and why I can't see the connection on the other end. In my opinion, having a physical lab allows me to have a hands-on to say, okay, what happens when I plug this cable in, or what happens when I just unplug the power on one of the devices? Is it really going to fail over? Is it the network really going to respond how it's supposed to? And so in my opinion, that's why I still have a home lab. But honestly, it takes a lot of time. It makes a lot of noise. It takes a lot of power. I'm not sure if you can hear, but my lab is running right now. So what we're connected to is my home lab. That's it right there. It's there. It takes up space. It's loud. I got to turn it on. I got to turn it off. I could leave it running, but then that's going to take power. Even turning it on takes more power than just leaving it running. So it's one of those things that I've really been debating and just saying, you know what, I'm just going to use EvenG, or I'm just going to use Viral or something to figure out, what, and just work from there. You know what I mean? But what are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on having a home lab in 2019? Cool. Let me get to these chats real quick. Alright, so I'm going to go back up to the top. I don't really like to not answer the chats, but I really do have some dope moderators. So shout out to y'all for really being helpful in handling in the chat. So I appreciate y'all. We're caught up. 425 Quan, what's poppin'? Just want to say thanks. Bro, you inspire a lot there, brothers. Hey, facts, man. I'm all about the culture, family. Shout out to you, 425 Quan. What's good? What's 425? What area code is that? Put your area code in the chat. Ali says, hey, D, the changes with the CISCO in 2020, I have a question. I'm considering, so here's a question from Ali. He's saying with the changes in CISCO in 2020, I'm considering going for the MCSA cert after my CCNA. Original plan was to go for CCNA security at the route switch, but since the changes, I'm confused. To be honest with you, MCSA is cool, but I would go for more of a cloud cert. Cloud being Google, cloud being AWS, cloud being Azure. I would focus more on the cloud than MCSA. MCSA is cool, but when you think about where technology is going, most of your servers and backends are going to be Linux. So the MCSA is cool, is building a lot of Linux functionality in Azure, but that's the point. Azure is a cloud-based solution. AWS, a lot of Linux. Cloud-based solutions. Google, same thing, cloud-based solution. So in my opinion, I would go for, let's say, the CompTIA Security Plus, so you can still get that security experience with the basic understanding of network infrastructure and general IT security, and then as well getting a cloud certification. That's just my opinion, Ali. What is everyone's thoughts in the chat? Put it in the chat. We would love to hear that feedback. Aiden says he got a project and a raise. Oh man, that's what's up. Shout out to your fam. Wow, where I find that? Come on, bruh. Adrian said he recommend automation. Yeah, automation anywhere. Okay. Salute from KC. Hey, you is KC. What's good? What's good? 816 in the building. Hey, Tiffany, it's always good to see you. Mal, what's popping? Let's see. Is that there at the time? Ricardo. Man, I don't hardly be on Instagram. for real. Let's see. That Ethernet cable click sounds priceless. Facts. Hey, what's up, Tyler? What's good? 816-214-405-5112 626-302-757. Man, that's what's up. So, all right, so Network Bruh, when we're talking about the home lab versus the physical versus the virtual lab. So Network Bruh says, can't simulate environmental issues in a virtual lab either. I.e. room too hot, facts. Power supply issues, facts. You will get syslog message for those on hardware you won't get in GNS3 environment. Facts. All right, so let's walk through. I got my switch pulled up. There's no configuration on there. But let's walk through some commands when it comes to a switch. So if you're in a switch and you, let's say you buy a switch off eBay or you buy a switch off of Amazon or you buy a switch just off Craigslist or something. Use safety when using Craigslist. The first thing I usually do is I do a show inventory. Show inventory, that allows you to see what type of device you have, the serial number of that device, and all that good stuff. And this right here is actually what you're going to use on Google when you're looking for information on your device when you're troubleshooting. So if I was to pull up, let me find a window. So if I was to pull up a Google search on this device. So now it's going to go to the CISCO documentation for that specific device, because you may put it in 2960, but there's so many different models of a 2960 switch. So what you want to find is that specific model to find out the support for that device. And as you can see, this device is end of support, which means it's end of life, which means they're no longer making it and they're no longer supporting it. So this right here, this end of life details, this is actually something that you need to learn how to understand and read when it comes to CISCO devices and just devices, period. Because when you're doing warranty support, RMAs, contacting CISCO, it's important for you to say, okay, I need support on this device. Do I have a smart contract? If you don't have a smart contract, all right, so how can I get this device fixed, or do we need to replace it? If it's in the life, in the support, it's probably time to replace it because they're no longer upgrading code on it. It's pretty much just out the window, and you're just having it in your device. And if it goes bad, it's a brick. You know what I mean? So that's something you need to learn how to understand, the end of life details, the end of life support, and all that stuff. So, and when I say smart contract, a smart contract is a contract that you get when you buy, let's say, a product from CISCO. It's like an extended warranty to get, like, let's say someone to come out, support your device, for you to get your device RMA'd and they replace it, all that good stuff. Is really called a smart contract that you can either have for like a specific device or your entire organization. So, all right, so show inventory. That's one of the first things I do is to figure out what type of device it is. And then the next thing is show version. Show version gives you the type of iOS that's on the device, and then not only the type of iOS that's on the device, but the type of device that's going to boot the next time you reload the device. So understanding that is important because, like, let's say you're on a firewall and there's multiple versions of ASDM. If you don't have that in the boot, the next time you boot it, it's going to have a different version of ASDM or a different version of iOS, and it can really mess up your network or mess up your configuration because the configurations that was on the device don't match. So it's important to understand what's actually going to boot when you reload this device. And as you can see, when I do the show version, it tells me that I'm running LAN-based version 15 code. What does LAN-based mean? It's a layer 2 device. There's no layer 3 on the device other than the management IP. And you can actually Google this on CISCO. Let's find it. So if we come over here to Google this, you're going to see a community search, but what you want to see is the software at CISCO. and actually there's another page. So this is the type of, these are the type of images that you can load on your device. So this lets you know how old your code is, and if there's a newer version of your iOS on Cisco. So that's that. But there's another one. Let me find it. Cisco. What is it? Software. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna have to look in my. So you can actually validate your software as well, but I think you have to have a smart contract for this to check if your iOS is valid. But I think you might have to have a smart contract for this, but I'm not sure. Either way, so back to show version, the system image file, and this lets you know what's actually gonna boot, where it's located. So this is the location of it, right there. Let me see. All right, so if we continue on the show version, it'll also tell you the MAC address of the device. This is actually a MAC address, which is totally different than your interfaces. So if I go to one of the interfaces, show IP interface brief, and let's say I do a show interface, I believe the MAC address is going to be totally different here. Yeah, so as you can see, these MAC addresses are different. So this is the actual MAC address of your device. This is the MAC address of your interface. So if you know OSI model, layer 2, Ethernet interfaces, what's that layer 2? What is that layer 2 of your NIC, your network interface card, your MAC? So every layer 2 connection, when you plug in that layer 1, at layer 2 is going to have a MAC. No matter what type of device it plugs into, it's going to have a MAC address. So when you communicate across the WAN and you can't communicate with the other end, let's say the other end changed changed to a new port or a new device. What's going to happen is if it has the same IP address but a different MAC address, the ARP table that you have on your device is probably not going to match. So you may have to clear ARP in order for that connection to actually come back. So understanding the MAC address and what could happen in your troubleshooting steps is like, okay, why can't we connect on the other end? Well, we changed out our device. It's the same IP? Yes. Well, we need to clear ARP just to make sure that all that's good. You get what I'm saying? So understanding that layer 1, layer 2, and then up to layer 3 with the IP addressing is important. So that's that. But back to the show version. So in this show version, we were down to the MAC address. Now you got your motherboard assembly number, which I don't really know nothing about all that. But all this information, you may need to do a show tag, and Cisco can use that. That's not really anything I'm worried about. The main things I'm worried about is the excuse me, is the serial number of the device, the model number of the device, serial number, model number, the MAC address of the device. Let's see what else. What's in the boot? What's being loaded? This tells you how long this device been up. This device has been up for 2 hours now. This is the image that's loading, and this is the iOS version that's actually that's loaded right now. This is the one that's going to load the next time it boots. So if we do a DIR, this is going to tell you the directory of the flash and what's on it. So as you can see, here's the same image that's here. You may have multiple in your flash. As you can see, I have a different image in my flash. I have 2 images. I could tell this to boot. If I come in here to, actually, let me copy this. So if I go in here and do a config T, it is a system. Nope, not on this device. So it's a system. System. Nope, it's boot. It ain't boot. It ain't systat. Config T. Is it boot? Okay, boot. And then it's system. And then you put the flash. You put the directory of the flash. Let me see. What's the flash? So flash colon. Boom. And so now if we go into show version, check this out. Show version. You can see right here in this bootloader, the next time we boot, this is what's booting. So let me start over. Initially, when we looked at this, and we looked at this bootloader, let me go back. Let me see. So this is in the bootloader right now. This is the version. This is the system image file. So if we do a show, is it show boot? Show boot. All right, so boot path right here. Boot path. If we could do a show version, bootloader, and this is what's loaded. So let's go back and change that to what it was. dir, and let's copy this right here. And let's go with config T. Config T, let's go boot, system, flash, copy this. And now we go back and do a show boot. Them logins be killing me. You can see the version. And if we do a show version, so that's that. That's the show version in a nutshell. And it operates differently on some devices. ASAs is totally different than 2960s. So, but uptime is another thing. Let's talk about that. So, a device uptime. Let's say you have a network configuration issue, whether it's WAN or LAN, and there was a power outage, and you don't know which device was affected, but you know there might have been an outage somewhere in your network or somewhere in a building or something. If you do it a show version, it's going to tell you how long that device is up. So if you know this device is supposed to be up for, let's say, 7 weeks or 3 years, and then it says only 2 hours, then you know that this device has been down. There was a power outage that affected this device. So it's important to know, the inventory of the device, the version of the device, and these are just the basics, troubleshooting if there's an outage. This is one of the first things I check is the uptime. All right, so you said it was outage and you're having a network issue, but you don't know if your router was affected. Well, let's do a show version and check the uptime. So this is important to check. Now let me get to this chat so we can say what's good. I like the colors. Right? OG, this is cool. I'm happy I caught this. Cheers, guy. Yeah, it's fun. The CLI analyzer is another. Yeah, so the CLI analyzer is dope, but it's slow in my opinion. Like Secure CRT is a lot faster. But the dope thing about, let me pull it up because it is pretty dope. I think I had it installed. Let me see if I got it installed on here. No, I don't. Let me pull it up. So there's a tool called the CLI analyzer. It's by CISCO, and the cool thing about this tool, let's find it. All right, so here it is. The cool thing about this tool is that I gotta log in. Anyway, the cool thing about this tool, if you have a smart contract and you have a partnership with CISCO or you work for a CISCO partner, if you get the CLI analyzer and you're using it for your network devices and CISCO has these devices on smart contracts, what you can actually do with the CLI analyzer is, let's say that device has an issue and you need to RMA it. You can pull up the CLI analyzer, log into the device, and open the ticket to send the TAC information to the ticket from the CLI analyzer. So it'll do your show tech, everything that Cisco needs for that ticket or that RMA, it'll automatically do it in the CLI analyzer. Fire. And when I actually worked in an environment to where I had to do a lot of RMAs, the CLI analyzer came in handy because Cisco wants a lot of information when you're actually opening that RMA ticket. So using that CLI analyzer is a great resource. And I think you can use it now at home just to get used to it. But I'm all about secure CRT and putty. Let me see. Glad to see young folks at it. I've been in IT for a year. Started at 50. Salute to you, TP. Kobe Lai says, what is your current job? Kobe, my current job is senior network engineer. Lai says, I think he has the dream job of network engineer, which we all inspired to be. That's encouraging. I'm up there too. Yup, facts. I'm not sure until he confirms it. Yeah, I'm a senior network engineer. That's what I do. Peppermint tea. Hey, if y'all got questions while we're in this switch, let me know if it's something you want to know, a question you want to know. But right now, we're just talking basic troubleshooting and understanding your device and how it works. So another thing about your switch, if you see this pound switch, chances are it doesn't have an image on it. If you do a show run, actually, let me start over. So to look at the configuration that's on the device, there's a couple commands you can do. So the first one I like to do is a show running configuration. So that would be show running. I don't want to go too fast. Configuration. And this will tell you the running configuration that's on your device. But it's not the full running configuration, but it's the details of what you actually need to see. But there's actually a running configuration all command that will show you all the configurations on your device. And that is a pretty long list. So in production, 9 times out of 10, you're just going to run this show running configuration. And so you do this show run, and what you'll notice is that you'll see the host name is switch, which means there's no configuration. There's no password on this device. No service password encryption, meaning don't encrypt my passwords. There's no VLANs configured on this device. Some of these switches you can see the VLANs, others you can't. You actually got to go in the database. There's no configurations on these interfaces, as you can see. And on the switch, all interfaces are up by default. On the router, they're down by default, but on the switch, they're up by default. There's no configuration on the COM port. There's no configuration on the VTY line. There's no banner. There's no layer 3 IP address for management. There's no configuration on this device. Let me give you a tidbit about this show run though. So a couple things about the show run. Let's say I got a long configuration, because you can have, let's say, a configuration that's, I don't know, 100,000 lines long. And that's all honesty. If you got 80,000 ACLs and however many static routes, you can really have a configuration that's 100,000 lines long. So let's say you want to go to a specific portion in the show running configuration. What you can do is a backslash. Is that back? Forward. I think it's forward. Yeah, / and then type where you want to go. So let's say I want to go down to the con. I type con, I hit enter. It's going to take me down to that section. It takes me all the way down to that section. And then another thing that I can do, hold on, you know what? Let's try that again. Because what's cool about it, so let's say I type interface. It takes me there. It takes me directly to that portion of the running configuration, but it doesn't take me out of the running configuration. So if that's not what I'm looking for, I can do the backslash or the / again, and then I can type con. And that'll take me down to con. You know what I mean? So depending on how long your configuration is, you can just use that / and keep going, searching through your running configuration. But another way that you can do it, show running configuration, the pipe command. And depending on your device is the options that you'll have. But 9 times out of 10, you're going to have exclude, include, begin. Those are the 3 that you'll pretty much have. So exclude, include, and begin are the 3. But another one that's dope is section. Because like, let's say you want to look at the router configuration. If you do section router, that'll take you down to your router configuration. You'll see all your router configuration in one section. But if you do begin, like let's say I do begin interface, this will start me at the interface configuration of my device or whatever that word is. And this piping also takes regular expressions as well. So when you start searching through those ACLs, learning and understanding regular expressions is truly helpful. So that's cool as well. Another thing about the switch. So we went over show version. We went over show inventory. We went over show running configuration. Now let's go over show spanning tree. So spanning tree. Man. Spanning tree can get really frustrating. And so understanding spanning tree is important. Some basics of spanning tree. Understanding what's your root bridge. How's your root bridge defined? So it's going to be what? The priority plus the VLAN number. So the priority for this is 3269 or it's 32769, right? But let's say I do a VLAN config T, which takes me in the global configuration world, and I go VLAN 10. Now let's go back and do a show spanning tree. And we go down to, I don't have any ports in VLAN 10. So if we do a show VLAN brief, I need to put something in VLAN 10, huh? So interesting. I'm glad we did this. Check this out. So you remember how I told you in the beginning of this video how a switch is wiped and this switch didn't have any configs on it? Switches have 2 places it stores its configuration. So it has the running configuration for all the configuration, but then it also has a VLAN database. So whenever you wipe a switch, you actually have to not only delete the running config or erase the startup config, you also have to delete the VLAN.dat file. So even though this switch has no configuration on it, it still has the VLAN.dat file. So that's that. So we need to delete that. So let's delete VLAN.dat. Boom. Delete it. Is it still there? Yeah, it's still there. But once we restart the device or reload the device, we good. So if we erase startup config, this also wipes the device completely. The VLAN.dat has been deleted. We can verify that, confirm it. Let me see. Let's find out where that's at. No wonder. So delete VLAN.dat rename. Why is that renamed? I didn't even see that error. Y'all probably saw that error too, huh? Let's see. Alright, so we do dir. Cool, so there's no VLAN.dat file. Should be no VLAN.dat file. So let's reload it. Reload. Because I'm interested to see. I can't remember why I renamed that file. So let's reload it. So no, we don't want to save. Let me enter. Cool. Let me get to this chat while this is reloading. Thanks for the video. What console are you using? So I'm using a secure CRT. I did a video on it. I'll put it in the chat real quick. Let me find it. Let me find the video and I'll toss it in the chat. while this is reloading. Secure CRT. Alright, so I'm about to put this in the chat now. Found the video. And if y'all interested in learning more about Secure CRT, check it out. Alright, so that's the video on Secure CRT. I just put it in the chat. Cool. Let's see. Network Bruh says, y'all hit that like button. More likes gets this video, more helps with the SEO for this video. And I appreciate that, bruh. I appreciate your support, bruh. Alright. Spanning tree is scary. Spanning tree is scary, but I mean, VTP is scary at times. VTP version 3 is a lot better. Like, it's a whole lot better. But spanning tree, in the data center, I think is where it really gets, it can really be crazy. Because it can really affect a lot. Anybody figure out which terminal software DeJuan is using? Was it SolarWinds? Nah, it's Secure CRT. That cup though, already. What's up, Phase 114? What's popping? Maddie says, how do you find what device is eating up bandwidth? Great question. Great question. So, Maddox's question is, how do you find what device is eating up your bandwidth? There's a couple ways you can do this. So if you have some type of device that's tracking like NetFlow, let's say it could be your Riverbed, it can be SolarWinds, it could be some type of device that's, or management software or application that's tracking software. You have what you call top talkers. Top talkers is going to be that person that's eating up your bandwidth, is going to show in a graphical representation on how that's going. But what you can also do is you can wire short the port. I mean, that's, you're going to have to go through a lot, but you can actually put it in conversation view and then see who's got the most conversation on your network and then start investigating what type of traffic they had. Now, that's going to take work, but you can do it. But if you're not tracking NetFlow, it's going to be hard to do, but you can do it. So, and if anybody else got a suggestion on how they actually track those top talkers in your network, put it in the chat, because it'll probably help the family out. So, appreciate that. I've been doing integration training with Joe Olsen. Oh, dope. That's dope. Guys looking for a job. I'm a network engineer looking, but can relocate. Hey, y'all, so Cedric, I believe that's his name. Cedric is looking for a job. He's a network engineer living in Texas, but can relocate. So if you got certifications or something, first, matter of fact, if you're on LinkedIn, connect with me on LinkedIn. Send me a message, and then I'll plug you on LinkedIn. But if somebody in the chat can help them, that'd be dope too. All right, so we're in this device. Let's do a show VLAN brief. There we go. There we go. There we go. So now this device is officially wiped. Officially. There's nothing on this device. So if we do a show, I want to get that spanning tree right, because I don't want to move on without talking about spanning tree. All right, so VLAN, let's go configure VLAN 10. There's nothing in VLAN 10, so that's going to be a problem. Let's go to a port and put something in VLAN 10. So actually, let's turn off logging, because that's annoying. So you have those syslog messages, or those console login messages. That's what they actually call, and they just interrupt your typing. If you want to turn those off on your device, do a what is it? Login synchronous. Yeah, that should Yeah, see how I went to the next line when the console message happened? You see how that just goes down, it doesn't interrupt? Like, that's so much better. Like, it's so annoying. Which gives me another point. When you're troubleshooting a device, kind of going back to when we're talking about things I look at, I mentioned that if you want to, one of the main things you should check if there's been an outage or an issue is that uptime. So as you can see, we reloaded this device and the uptime now is only 4 minutes. So if there's been a power outage, you're going to see it right there. But another thing you can check, and this is something we should all get used to using, show logging. So when you look at this show logging, this is going to tell you where you're sending your logs to. So if you're logging and you have a login server, it's going to be right there, the IP address of that device. But then, these are all the logs that are happening on my device. So if ACLs are logging, or if there's an error on my device or something, so like this error message right here. This is the level of the error message. The level of the error message. The level of an error message. And so when you start looking at the levels of error messages, that's something you should understand as well. Let's pull this up. CISCO. What is it? Error message levels. Alright, so here's the severity levels of CISCO. This is something you should know as well. The different type of messages that your device is putting on. So the informational one, we worry about that. Notification, that's like changes in your device. So if an interface goes up, down, as you can see right there, that's a notification. So interface went up, down, that's a notification. It just lets you know what's going on in your device. But when it comes to, what was that, level 3, this is when you want to start worrying. All right, what really happened? It's an error message. Something actually happened on my device. You get what I'm saying? Something actually happened on my device. I probably need to investigate that. But then if it's at severity level 2, yeah, something's probably broke on my device. And then if it's 1, yeah, we need to go ahead and RMA that for sure if it comes up. So understand those and being able to understand these severity levels right here. And you can actually take this message. So if you're troubleshooting a device, you check the logs and you're seeing this message, look, easiest way to understand what's going on is this. Copy that, pull up Google, get used to Googling, put it in Google, and then you're going to have some type of blog because somebody in the world probably seen the same issue you're having. Get used to using Google. Don't be afraid to use it. Like, you don't have to know everything. You just got to know how to find the answers. And you have to be confident enough to say, I don't understand what's going on right now, or, you know what, give me some. You have to be confident enough to say, okay, there's a network outage. I understand. If you give me a couple minutes, let me research it, and I'll get back to you. So take that minute if you can. If not, right there on the spot. Well, you know what, I need to look into this. Google it. You know what I mean? And find the answer. Like, you don't have to know everything. You don't. And as you can see, line protocol flapping. So this is kind of giving you an idea. And then there's probably somebody explaining what's actually going on in the blog post. So that's dope. But yeah, I want to get this spanning tree popping. So I created a VLAN. But the reason why you don't see it in the spanning tree. So if we do a show VLAN brief, we have to understand what's going on right here. So when you create a VLAN, that is layer 2. Layer 2. If I create interface VLAN 10, this is layer 3. And I put an IP address on it. A /24 IP address on here. Now it's layer 3. Now you see how this says this is down, down. Let me do a no shut. We'll bring it up. show IP interface brief, but I have nothing in that VLAN right now. But it's up, down. And the reason why it's up, down is because I don't have any interfaces. I don't have nothing in VLAN 10 right now. So let me put an interface in VLAN 10. Excuse me. But I understand what's going on. So if we do a show VLAN brief. Show VLAN brief. We'll see the VLAN here is active. What you can see, and we're going to talk about the up down here in a minute. But what you can see is VLAN, I think it's shut down. Let me see, VLAN 10, and you can shut down. So if I go VLAN, show VLAN brief, VLAN 10 is now shut down. Active, meaning that VLAN is up. You can communicate in that VLAN. But if you see this, that VLAN is shut down. And there's going to be no communication in that VLAN. But it's still going to be in your VLAN database. And that can happen for a number of reasons. But just know that if you see it shut down, that there's going to be no communication and you need to bring it up. So what we need to do now is go ahead and hit VLAN 10 and do a no shut. That brings it up. But that doesn't solve our issue of show IP interface brief. And actually, you know, show IP interface brief, include, let's say, N10. And that's just going to show us VLAN 10. So now what you see is it up down. The reason why it's up down is because no interfaces on my device is in VLAN 10. What's up?
Hi, Daddy.
What's up, my man? What's poppin'?
Nothing.
What you up to?
Nothing.
That's what's up. You alright?
Mm-hmm.
Say what's happening.
What's happening?
Alright, so what I'm going to do is put gigabit 01 in VLAN 10. So switch port. Nope. So switch port mode access. I'm making an access port. And switch port access VLAN 10. The reason why I did the switch port command, if you have a device that's not LAN based, let's say you have a switch that's IP services, it'll be, you can actually make your interfaces layer 3, and you will have to either tell it be a switch port by using the command switch port, or by saying no switch port, meaning that I want you to be a layer 3 interface, which means you can route on that interface. It can be a default gateway for your network. However you want to do it, that's what you can use that interface for. So that's that. So now we have this switch port in VLAN 10, but the thing is, let's show IP interface brief. It's still up down. You know why it's up down? Let's see. Show interface gigabit 01. It's down. So even though we put it in VLAN 10, it's still down. And we can do show VLAN brief. Checking out the VLAN database, and you can see that VLAN 10 is active and this port is in there, but there's no show IP interface brief. There's no traffic on that interface. In other words, there's no device on that interface. There's no device connected on that interface. So if we do a show MAC address table, you can see there's nothing connected. We're not learning the MAC address on that interface. And so if you see that, back to what I was saying initially about VLAN 10 being up down, the reason why it's down at layer 2 and up at layer 1, or yeah, down at layer 2 but up at layer 1, meaning that we're up, like we brung it up, like we're ready to go, but there's no layer 2 connection. Like I can't help anybody. There's nothing I can do on this device. I'm not learning no MAC addresses. There's nobody in my VLAN. What am I even here for? So that's why it's down at the layer 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a router, hook up to a router real quick, and then we're going to configure a router, which is going to basically be a router on a stick, and then we'll get that done. But before I do, let me check something. Show run interface VLAN 10. Let me change this IP address of VLAN 10, because I don't want this to be the default gateway. So VLAN 10, and we'll change this IP address to something simple. IP address 10.10.10.10.255.0. All right, so let's do a shut it down. Let's do a no shut. Boom, bring it back up. Now, you're going to see this log message come up that says the link is down, but the port is up. Basically, that's all it's really saying. And let's put a default gateway on it as well. Config T, and then we want to put a default gateway. So default, I think it's gateway. Been a minute since I did that. So what was it? Default. Is it default? Man, it's been a minute since I did this config. What is it? IP default gateway 10.10.1. All right, cool. So right now, saving it. Copy, run, start. Boom. Now let's go to the router that I want to use for this device. Hold up. Man, what is going on? Oh man, what happened? Lab terminal 3. Lab. Man, I don't know what the heck happened on that. Hold up. So obviously, if we're in my router now, let's do a show inventory. We can see what type of device it is. All right, so 1841. This is another thing. All right, so if you want to know what's actually installed in your device, what type of cards do you have, what type of line cards do you have, what type of chassis is your device, all that good stuff. The show inventory is going to show you everything, every card that you have in your device. So right now I have an 1841. Here's my fast Ethernet motherboard. Here's my WAN interface card. So I have an HWIC serial 1T, which is so I have, this is that, hold on. This is like your serial card. So this is my serial card, and this is my T1 connection card that I have here. So my T1 card and my serial card here. And this is the slots that they're in. So I think, I think that's the slot. Looks like that's the slot. Yep, that's the slot. So at the top of your device is going to say like slot 1, slot 0, and my serial is in slot 0, and my WAN T1 is in my slot 1. So that's that. But we need to wipe this device. So let's see what configuration is on it first. So show IP interface brief. And as you can see, I have IP addresses on it. Let's do a show IP protocol. Let's see if I have any routing in place. Show IP. Man, this command right here, yo. Alright. So I do have routing. So I have EIGRP in place. Default configuration here. I don't have any distribution lists or any ACLs on it. Let me see. This is the router ID, which is probably the loopback. Yep, it is. No auto summary. Default configuration for the hop count, variants, and all that stuff. And I'm routing for the network side. No. And I don't have any neighbors. I'm not learning anything, so I'm not connected to anybody. So I have no, but I am physically connected. Let's see if we're up. Show CDP neighbors, and I can see the switch. So I have a connection to the switch. That's another command. So let's reload the device first. Let's reload it. So First thing we're going to do is erase the startup config and continue. And then we're going to reload. And then while that, I'm going to get to the chat and then we'll talk more about this. Yo, if y'all like this, let me know in the chat what y'all think about this little walkthrough that I'm doing. If you got questions, I'm going to try and get to them. Let's see. Being said, oh, that makes sense. I wouldn't know because at my job, I don't really touch equipment like this, which makes me sad. Hey, I know what you mean. Look, it took me 15 years to become a network engineer. A lot of that was my own fault because, like, I spent 6 of those years in the military. I spent 6 of those years on the help desk, and then 3 years, you know, as a network technician and a system administrator. So it took me a minute to actually get to where I am. You know what I mean? So it can be discouraging, but the moral of the story is keep learning and don't stop. You know what I mean? That's pretty much the moral of the story. I want to lie right now. I'm hyped. And I hope this little walkthrough is helping you. Once this router is coming up, we're going to put an IP address on this, do some more walkthroughs on things you need to look out for and how to configure your basic router on the stick and just go from there. How did you get the colors? Hey, in my video that I put out, I think I walked through it as well in my secure CRT, but Maddox, appreciate that, family. I appreciate you putting that in there, bro. Let me see. Debug commands. Debug commands. What debug commands you want to talk about? Because we can talk about them. Google can be a lifesaver. Yeah, Google is a skill. Trust me. There's a lot of people that can't Google. A whole lot of people. Hey, thanks for posting that, bruh. Excuse me. He modified the fonts. Yeah, so when you pull up Secure CRT, basically, I think under global options, when you go down here to, let me see, terminal, appearance, nah, it's under session options. So under session options, if you go down here to, let me see, where's it at? Appearance, that's where it's at. So if you go down here to appearance, you're gonna have to get this file. For CISCO words. And so once you get in there, you can modify it for your keywords. And so I just use the color. You can bold it. But once you get this CISCO words, and what it does is just the keywords that, like, let's say down would be red, or an IP address would be a certain color, or a host name will be a certain color. And you can modify that how you want. So, but once you get that file and put that code in there and then you add it, you'll be good to go. So on this drop down, you just download that file and put it in the location they tell you to put it. Go over here to appearance, click new, find the file, and then you'll have the CISCO word files there. Select it, and boom, you'll be there. So let me get back to this chat. Router on a stick. Yeah, router on a stick is, the terminology is basically when you have a network, right, and you have a default gateway. A router on a stick, the terminology is basically saying my default gateway for all of my networks is on one device. So, man. So if you can see this diagram, so this is a diagram. So if you look at, let me see where my hand at. If you look at this switch, this computer connected to this switch, to this router. Essentially, this is just one VLAN going to this router. But I could have multiple computers on different networks, on different VLANs going to this one router, where all the default gateways sit on that one router that communicates through a trunk to the router, and all the default gateways sit there. That's called a router on a stick. Basically, router on a stick. One router basically supports all your default gateways. for your infrastructure. Hopefully that helps you understand, Harry. Walk in the cosmos. Awesome, thank you. Hit that like. Hit that like. Hey, put your area code in the chat. Let me see where y'all coming from. And if you ain't got no area code, put your country code in the chat. What's good? Hey, thanks, Adam. I appreciate that. I definitely forgot that command. It happens. I forget way more than I know. 55, but only 43 likes. Battle. I have spin class. Hey, thanks for tuning in, Tiff. 614-212-703. 816 in the building. 708. 78. Man, what? Man, you put your zip code. I'm like, what? 803, what's popping? 304, 313, Clarksville, Nashville, 314 in the building. Hey, y'all need to pay attention to who's in your area. You never know. Y'all could link up. Cool. With Gucci. I miss seeing your streams, these CLI videos. I had a small home lab. Cool. Hey, I would like to start doing it more. Yeah, I'm on call. I mean, that's part of the job. So, all right. So I got my router up. Let's get this configured because I got like 25 minutes before we up out of here. So I got my router. We did the show inventory. So show inventory, and we see what's installed on the device and the type of chassis on the device. Now, if we do a show version, this is going to tell us again the uptime on the device has been 3 minutes. So if there was an outage that affected your WAN, this is where you're going to go. Show version is going to show that there. And again, the type of license, all that good stuff, the serial number, yeah, all that good stuff. So that's that. We talked about that before. So on a router, one of the things it does is route. So you want to do show IP route to check on the routing table. So right now, there's nothing installed because we don't have any IP addresses configured on the device. So the first thing we want to configure is a default gate. Well, let's do a loopback. So we do a config T interface loopback 0 and then IP address. And let's call it 1.1.1 255.255. This is a /32, and on the loopback interface, basically, it's not going to do anything but for your communication. So rather than wasting IP addresses, you're going to just assign a /32 to all of your, let's say, WAN devices. And maybe all of your devices in your network that you want to communicate through. So that way you're not wasting any IP addresses. So that's the loopback. And if we do a show IP route again, hold on, let me turn off this console. That's killing me. Console messages is like. So we do a login, synchronous. If I can type, boom. So now we're good to go. So if we do a show IP route again, you'll see we have one connected route, which is our route, which is 1.1.1. So can we ping it? Can we ping our own route, our own IP address? We can ping it. So it's good to go. If we do a show IP interface brief, we're good to go. So that's a loopback IP address. It's not an interface. It's just a virtual interface on the router that says you can do whatever you want with it. You can send it as an IP address. But in order to communicate with this router, if you put it in your router table and a node can have a route to it, it will be able to ping, and if you allow it to log in at that IP address, it can log into your device through that loopback. Oftentimes, that's how you'll log into your device, through the loopback. So, because the loopback, it never changes. It's always going to be there. It's not going to go down because you can't unplug your network cable from it. So, that's the purpose of a loopback. Now, what I want to do is a show CDP neighbors. Show CDP, Cisco Discovery Protocol. It operates at what? Layer 2. There's nothing connected. So I can't, there's no device connected. That's what it looks like. But if you look above this, what you'll see is that all my interfaces are down but my loopback. So even if I have something plugged in, because it's down at layer 1 and layer 2, I have no communication. So I have my NIC plugged in, or my LAN cable plugged in port fast Ethernet 0/1. So we'll do a config T. And then we'll go to interface fast Ethernet 0/1. We'll give it a description. Connection to LAN. And we'll give it an IP address in the same subnet that we provided for our layer 3 on our switch. But we'll make it the default gateway, which it is. And then we'll have to bring it up with the no shut command. Now, out the box, if I do a show IP interface brief, now I'm up. Layer 1 and layer 2. Let's see if I can ping the switch now. Ping 10.10.10. I can't ping. Do you know why we can't ping? Do you know why we can't ping? I'm going to tell you why we can't ping. So, remember I was talking about router on a stick? Check this out. So, there's something called VLAN tagging. When you assign a device to a VLAN, it tags it with that VLAN ID. So, I'm in VLAN 10 right now. So, I can't communicate with the switch because I put the switch in VLAN 10. If it was in VLAN 1, no problem. I think. If it was a trunk, no. If it was in VLAN 1, no problem. But since it's VLAN 10, there's a problem. So let me default that port. Default interface fast Ethernet 0/1. So what I just did was, with that default command, I removed the configuration from fast Ethernet 0/1. So let's go in here and make it what you call a sub interface. So fast Ethernet 0/1, and we'll call this sub interface 10. We'll give it an encapsulation of .1Q10, and we'll put an IP address on it of 10.10.1. If I can type. .0, and we'll give it a description. Connection to LAN. Boom. Show IP interface brief. Show interface description. This is another helpful command. If you got a bunch of interfaces on your device, show interface description, especially on like WAN devices and AG devices. You're going to want to know what's connected to what. It's helpful to use that show interface description. So that's really helpful. Now let's see if we can ping. Still can't ping. Still can't ping. I love it. Let's go over to our other device, our switch. Actually, do you know why we can't ping? I'll show you. So show CDP neighbors. The question is, are we connected to that device? It says we're locally connected on our fast Ethernet 0/1. And this is the device we're connected to. And this is the port we're connected to. So yes, we're connected to the device. Let's find more details about this device. So, show CDP neighbors detail. This is going to tell you more information about the device. Which type of iOS. Which type of device. Let's see. And if I could communicate layer 3, the management IP. Ah, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. The IP address is in there, but I can't ping. Let's see why I can't ping. Show IP interface brief. Look at that. Look at that. We are up. We are up. Let's do a show IP route. I know it's not a router. Show run. I can't do show IP route. Ah, no, I can't because it's only LAN based. So let's do a show run. Pipe include default. Boom. Default gateway is correct. Let's do a show run interface VLAN 10. Boom. Ah, so let's see if we can ping the router. 10.10.10.1. Can we ping? We can't ping. Watch this. Remember I mentioned that VLAN tagging thing? Let me show you something. Control Shift X. Cool. Config T. Interface. Gigabit 01. Is that it? Switch port. Mode. Trunk. Let's do a shut, no shut. Interface gigabit 01. Shut, no shut. Wait for the message. Show IP interface brief. We are up, and we should be able to ping. We should be able to ping. We should be able to ping. 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 Show interface trunk. 802.1 encapsulation. Native VLAN 10. Nah. So check this out. See, hold up. See, this is my fault. Remember when I was talking about VLAN 10 being down at layer 1? I mean down at layer 2? This is why we couldn't ping. It took forever for VLAN 10 to even come up. You see this line console message? So let's talk about this as well. When you're troubleshooting remotely, you're not going to see this line console message unless you do terminal monitor. If you don't have that on, you're not going to see that unless you do terminal monitor or you do a show logging. And that's the purpose of going into the logs and actually seeing why it's not working. So when I first did the show IP interface brief, I should have noticed that layer 2 was still down on VLAN 10. So that's the reason that VLAN 10 cannot ping the router. This is troubleshooting. Basics, like at the basics form. Like, it's crazy. So let's go back over to the router. Show CDP neighbors. And as you can, I'm connected to, look at that. Man, come on, family. Look at that. See, when you are connected to, I wonder, that's interesting. So, I'm connected to router 4 and I'm connected to router. I need to shut that port down. And that's what I was mentioning by a switch. A switch, the interfaces are up by default. So one of the first security things that you do on a switch is shut down all the ports and move them into like a VLAN that you're not using, often called a parking lot VLAN. Because if somebody just happens to plug, let's say, a router into your device that's handing out IP addresses, now you could have a man-in-the-middle attack. Or you can have somebody that basically takes over your network because now all the devices are communicating with this rogue DHCP device. So it's always best practice to shut down those ports. And in my network, router 4 is a rogue device. And that could have been one of the reasons I was having issues with my communication. So now I need to go in here to the interface that it's actually connected to and shut it down. So, and actually let's shut them all down. So if we do interface range gigabit 0, 1, or 2 through 48, since it's a 48 port switch, and we do a shut we shut down all those interfaces. So now when we do a show CD, we'll wait. All right, so now when we do the show CDP neighbors, we only see the one device. And so verify that we still have connectivity to that device. And we should be able to ping 1.1.1 because it's directly connected to router. As you can see, router. It using this default gateway address, it's like, okay, I know this because this interface is in me. Like, it's my interface. You know what I mean? So you don't have to do any routing to tell it how to get there. It already knows how to get there, so it responds. So that's that. Now, while we're still in here, before we go back over to the router, let's look at spanning tree. Remember we were talking about spanning tree in the VLAN 10? So, we were talking about this VLAN ID and now, or the bridge priority ID and how it configures that. So you take the actual priority and then you add whatever the VLAN ID is. So this is the actual priority plus the VLAN ID, which is VLAN 10, and then you get the bridge ID. And it tells you this is a root bridge. Now if I plug another switch into this network that has a lower priority, what's going to happen? Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chats. Let me know in the chat. Hey, matter of fact, the first person that let me know in the chat what happens if you plug a switch into the device that has a lower bridge priority, what happens? I'm gonna do a giveaway. This is a giveaway. First person, let me know in the chat what happens when you plug a switch in the network that has a lower bridge priority. What happens? Boom. Hey Clyde, where you at, family? Wait, he said it will become the new root port. Nope. It will take over as root bridge. Adam, you got it, family. Boom. Adam, hit me on Twitter, man. I'm gonna send you this Phoenix Project book. This is yours. I got 2 of them, and I bought one just for a giveaway. This is yours, family. Congratulations to Adam. You never know what's gonna happen on these live streams. But hit me on Twitter, bro. Congratulations to you. If you all are looking for a good book, this Phoenix Project, well, let me start over. If you all are looking for a book on DevOps, right? And something to really understand about DevOps and a use case, this Phoenix Project is actually a really good book that tells you like I don't know if it's real world or not, or if it's made up, but it gives you a scenario of a failing company that was having issues, and like I think he was like a IT analyst or IT admin. He was a team leader. The guy was a team leader, and he actually got put in charge of the IT department, and he implemented DevOps and turned the company around. So it's actually a pretty good book to really understand DevOps, how it functions, and a use case of when it actually gets implemented. So if you are interested in this book, I'll share it on this live stream once it's over. So, Adam, hit me on Twitter, bro, and I'll send it to you today. Congratulations, family. No problem. Hey, Clyde, man, I definitely was going to hook you up, but you was like, become the new root port, and I'm like, we got to go official on what's actually going to happen. So, thanks to everybody that's actually tuning in the chat. I hope you are finding this helpful, useful, and all that good stuff. So, we're talking about spanning tree and understanding the bridge ID, the root bridge, and all that good stuff. So, as you can see, these are all designated ports. Designated ports for these VLANs. For each VLAN, it's going to have a different bridge ID, bridge priority ID. Bridge ID and priority. You get what I'm saying? So, You also have your MAC address. So the lowest MAC address, same thing. So if these match, same thing. That comes into play next. But if you see all designated ports in the forwarding state, and that's going to be your root bridge. Now, if you see your other switches, they're going to say they're going to have a root port that connects directly to the root bridge. So understanding the spanning tree is going to help you in your network. Like, let's go back to this diagram. This is a basic diagram. This is the direction of the flow of your network to the internet, right? But let's say this is your root bridge down here. Does that make sense? If this device needs to send traffic here, why is it going to go back this way to this switch and then back another way out? That makes no sense. So really understanding the flow and controlling your network at layer 2 and all that good stuff, spanning tree is something that you really have to dive in and understand. So that's that. Next thing before we go, VTP status. VTP. Remember I was mentioning VTP 1 in version 3? I like version 3 because you can actually do VTP primary and then force. And you will force the VTP primary of this device. So no matter what device tries to say they're the primary server, no device will take over this device. And any other version that's running version 3, any other device is running version 3, they will know that this switch is the boss. And he's not coming in here regulating. You get what I'm saying? So for me, a lot of people say that version 3 isn't good, but I've actually seen VTP isn't good, but I've actually seen VTP work the way it's supposed to work. So that's just what I've seen. Now, granted, if you got an older switch, yeah, and it has more VLANs, I believe. If it has like a larger VLAN database, and it's gonna take over. Or the revision number is larger because it got more VLANs. Yeah, it's all bad. But VTP seems like it's not really recommended since it slows the network. Yeah, I mean, it's not really recommended by, I would say it's not really recommended, but depending on the type of scenario of your infrastructure, it can work. And I've seen it work because of the type of the environment that I was in. It was a large switching domain. So could we have done routing? Yeah, we could have had done routing, but somebody really has to maintain that. So I think the thinking of the engineers was that switching is just going to switch. Nobody really has to maintain switching until spanning tree breaks. So I think that was the purpose of it. Now, could it have gone bad? Yes. Could it went bad before version 3? Yes, but I've seen version 3 work. So let me see. Private VLANs. Private VLANs. Can I do private VLANs on here? VLAN, let's say VLAN 20. So I can't do, all right, hold up. Let's go to, I created VLAN 20. So let's go in here and do interface gigabit O2. And let's do switch port private protected. So I can't necessarily do private VLANs on here, but I can do switch port protected. In switch port protected, it basically isolates that port and isolates this port. So whatever VLAN this is in, it's going to be an isolated port. So it's only going to be able to communicate with the outside to the default gateway within that within that. But actually, let me get my book and I'll explain it. Actually, let me just Google and I'll explain it better because I'm explaining it bad. I'm not even gonna lie. Switchport protected CISCO. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought it was. It only communicates with the default gateway. You can't communicate with any other device on that VLAN, on that switch. So here's this diagram on network lessons. So if you look at these two devices, they're in the same VLAN. So if you make it a protected port, these two devices can't communicate. So it only is going to go to the default gateway, which actually is sort of kind of like private VLANs because you can have isolated ports. So it's more so like the private VLAN isolated port than it is the like community, because you can have community ports as well to where everybody in this VLAN, although they are part of VLAN 10, everybody within the private VLAN 20 can communicate. But if it's an isolated, only the ports can only those devices on that port can communicate with the promiscuous port. But a community, everybody within that private VLAN can communicate. So when it comes to protected ports, on this switch, if you make it a protected port, it can only communicate with that promiscuous port to the default gateway. Make sense? Make sense? Hey, shout out to everybody that's commenting on that. I'm glad. I hope that helped you, and I hope I explained it well enough to help you understand it. Cool. All right. So that's that. So we talked about a lot today, man. We talked about a whole lot. We talked about. Let me pull up my. I was gonna do some more on my routing, but yo, if y'all want me to do this again and do some more, like go deeper into troubleshooting and understand the configuration, let me know in the chat. Say hashtag lab every day, and I'll try and do this maybe once a week or something to where we just deep dive in. Y'all let me know something y'all want me to pull up, and we kind of go into that. But let me know. Hey, 2960 ain't no dinosaur. Stop hating. But yeah, let me know lab every day in the chat if y'all want to see this again. All right, so before we started, I was telling everybody about, after this live stream, I'm actually going to post the code to the Lab Everyday bot that I created. This bot, if you don't know, if you hop on Twitter, Lab Everyday bot, at Lab Everyday bot, and comment towards it, tweet towards it, add it, whatever, it will send you a reply. If you use the hashtag Lab Everyday while saying at Lab Everyday bot, hashtag Lab Everyday, it will send you a quiz question, inspirational quote, a tech question, fun fact, or something. It just works. It does this thing automatically through Python. Automation. And so with that being said, I'm posting the code on GitHub so you can actually be a part of contributing to the Lab Everyday bot. That's my Alexa alarm. Alexa, turn off the alarm. I'm going to post the code to my GitHub. And my GitHub is at Lab Everyday if you're trying to find me. So if you just go ahead and follow me on GitHub now, when I make this code public, you can actually contribute. Learn Python with me. Learn, and we all contribute and make something together. We all can contribute and make something together, but right here is the code to my script for the Lab Everyday bot. It has 41 replies so far. I'm not really a fan of the replies. I just kind of just made them real quick just to kind of finish the script. But I walked through at the beginning of the video on how the script actually functions, but I'm actually going to put some more documentation in there to help you understand everything about the code. But the code is here. It's going to be readily available on GitHub for you to contribute to and learn Python with me. If you with it, let me know. Give this video a like. I thank y'all for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.